Good morning, my dear friends. Today I am going to present the Nagara Temple Architecture. It is quite known to us that the temple architecture of ancient India were classified into three different types: the Nagara Temple Architecture, the Dravidian Temple Architecture, and the Vesara Temple Architecture. Now I am going to present the Nagara Temple Architecture, specially known to us North India Temple Architecture. It is very questionable that why is it so called Nagara Temple Architecture, and what was the main features of Nagara Temple Architecture. Here I am trying to present characteristics of the Nagara Temple Architecture, which is very essential to know for the distinction of the temple architecture, especially which is related to the ancient temple architecture. The Nagara temple architecture, this type of temple architecture was common in North Indian temples, which I have mentioned before. That the North Indian temples known to us as a Nagara temple architecture. That is the common term for the ancient Indian temple architecture is Nagara temple architecture. And specified the temples which are situated in the North India region. The temple was built on a raised stone platform called Jagati level of garbhagriha. The Jagati would have another platform called Pithas, over which a smaller platform called Adhisthan could be present, on which the temple garbhagriha could be present. That means the temple situated especially stone platform, which is called Jagati, level of garbhagriha. That means garbhagriha and the Jagati are the common platform of Nagara temple architecture. And the Jagati would have another platform called Pithas. That means Pithas is the another platform which is situated with the Jagati, over which a smaller platform called Adhisthan, where the deity situated, could be present, on which the temple garbhagriha could be present. That means garbhagriha and the Pithas and the Jagati and the garbhagriha, just a single stone platform. That type of architecture so called Nagara temple architecture. And the temple would have a singular tower or spire above the garbhagriha called Shikhar. Just above the garbhagriha, a singular tier or spire that is related with the shikhara. The tallest tower would, however, be present over the garbhagriha of the central deity. That means garbhagriha, where the central deity is situated, and from the garbhagriha, the tallest tower up to the shikharas or kamalaka was called shikhara. The shikharas could also be crowned by a stone disc called amalak. That means the shikharas had a crown by a stone disc which was known to us as amalak. That means garbhagriha, shikhara and amalak is related with the Nagara temple architecture, and over the amalak, a colossus top of the temple could be present, especially topmost point of the temple. So the garbhagriha, shikhara and amalak and the colossus were related with the Nagara temple architecture, and the tallest tower from to garbhagriha is known to us as a shikhar. So the Nagara temple specified by the tower or shikhar and Latina or Rekha Prasad type temple architecture. That means Latina or Rekha Prasad type temple architecture was a square base, wall slope upwards or curved towards inside so as to meet to a point. It is simple type of temple structure. Latina or Rekha Prasad type temple architecture related with the shikhara square base and its wall slope upwards or curved towards inside so as to meet to a point, or square base architecture curved towards inside and meet to a point, and it was very simple type of temple architecture that is called Latina or Rekha Prasad type temple architecture. Very simple temple type architecture known to us as Latina or Rekha Prasad type temple architecture, which shikhara was a square base, wall slope upwards or curved towards inside so as to meet at a point. And then Hamsana type temple architecture. Hamsana type temple architecture is related with the temple structure, and the spire tend to be broader and shorter. The roofs of the temple consist of several slab-like structure. They rise to a single point, but the slope of the temple Shikhara is not curved but inclined along a straight line. That means Vamsana type temple architecture, especially border and shorter, and the roof of the temple consists several slabs like structure. Different slabs created a structure and they rise to a single point. That slabs meet to a single point, but the slope of the temple Shikhara is not curved but inclined along a straight line. That is Vamsana temple architecture, especially several slab like architecture, and the several slab meet a single point, but the Shikhara is not curved, just a straight line or straight line. That means Vamsa type temple architecture, especially several slab like architecture. Balavi type temple architecture is another type of Nagara architecture, temple architecture. Balavi type temple architecture, the ground plan is rectangular. A doorway on one of its longer side. Okay. The Shikhara is semicircular or resembling a vaulted chamber, of course, the edge of which is rounded. That means Pallavi type of temple architecture whose plan is rectangular and a doorway on one of its longer side. The Shikhara is semicircular or resemble a vaulted chamber, just like a chamber, the edge of which is rounded. That means Pallavi type temple architecture, ground plan is rectangular. It consisted a doorway on one of its longer side. The Shikhara is semicircular or resembling a vaulted chamber, the edge of which is rounded. The temple of Nagara type further developed on the basis of region. That means the temples of Nagara type further developed on the basis of region. That means Nagara temple types also developed on the basis of region, which I have mentioned here. Central Indian temples, the East Indian temples, the temples of Western India, and hill temples. That means Nagara temples architecture also in different categories on the basis of different region. Central Indian temple architecture, Nagara temple architecture known to us as Central Indian temples, and the Nagara type temple architecture in the East India context, the East Indian temples architecture, and in the Western context, the temples of Western India and the hill region known to us as temples. So the Nagara type of temples also divided into four categories on the basis of region, which is related the special feature of the temple architecture, which is related with the basis of region. Here I have mentioned Central Indian temples. It is quite known to us. Dasavatara temple developed during the Gupta era, and Khajuraho temples developed under the Chandela rulers and marked by their ornate carving, erotic sculpture on their walls. That means Dasavatara temple and Khajuraho temples, especially marked by their ornate carving, erotic sculpture on their walls, is specified Central Indian temples by their regional position and regional features. The Dasavatara temple is of Panchatano style, where there is a main siren at the center and four other smaller sirens at the four corners. The Udayagiri temples belongs to that group of temples. That means Dasavatara temples is of Panchayatana style, where there is a main siren at the center and four other small sirens at the four corners. That for reason, Dasavatara temple style is Panchayatana style. Main siren is there at the center of the temple, and the other four smaller sirens at the four corners. And that type of temple is the Udayagiri temple, which is situated in the central India, and the Central Temple Indian architecture. And then the East Indian temples. Sun Temple in Konark, Jagannath Temple in Puri, and the Lingaraj Temple at Bhubaneswar are the East Indian temples architecture. Especially the interiors of these temples contain exquisite carvings. The shikhara is composed of several slabs, one over the other, and Devaparvati temple near Tezpur and Sibsagar temple in Assam, the Terracotta temple at Bishnupur, and Siddheswar Mahadev temples in Bardhaman also significant. That is the East Indian temples related with the interiors specified. Their shikhara composed of several slabs, one over the other. So the shikhara was multiple, especially several slabs, and their position as a regional context, they are common to know the East Indian temple architecture. The temples in Western India, the Sun Temple in Modhera in Gujarat was built by Solankis in 11th century and by a massive stepped rectangular tank. Jagati Temple at Almora also belongs this group of temples. This group of temples. So the temples of Western India, Nimodhera in Gujarat, Sun Temple, and the Jagati Temple at Almora belong to this group of temple, and it's shaped by stepped rectangular tank. And the hill temples, especially hill region, hill temples in Kumaon, Garhwal, Kashmir, and Himachal developed certain unique features of their own. Mathura, Sarnath, and Ganadhar School of Art had a blending influence on the temples in this region. Wooden building and architecture were prominent, the indigenous style. Hill temples especially was built by wooden building structure and especially in indigenous style, and which is situated hill areas, especially Kumaon, Garhwal, Kashmir, and Himachal Pradesh. Mathura, Sarnath, and Gandhar School of Art had a blending influence on the temples in this region. Lakshana Devi Mandir at Chamba, Jageshwar Temple, and Champavat Temple near Pithas are most important. Lakshana Devi Mandir at Chamba and Jageshwar Temple and Champavat Temple near Pithas are most important. So the hill temples, especially hill region, constructed by the indigenous style and maximum wooden building architecture. So the Nagara style temple architecture had own features and also different in region basis, and the Nagara style temple architecture known to us as North India temple architecture. And after that, different types of temple architecture originated in different regions, that is Central India, Western India, East India, and the hill areas temples, also quite known to us as Nagara style temple architecture. And Nagara style temple architecture reflected their style and pattern and their presentation and their rituals, customs, habits of the inhabitants, and the regional sphere of life reflected in their Nagara style temple architecture. Thank you. Next day, I will discuss on Dravidian style of temple architecture. So you can take these classes for the development of art and